GI started looking at illicit arms, specifically in the context of Ukraine. Started and established an observatory shortly after the full-scale invasion in February 2022. And one of the things that we were seeing was the influx of weapons going into Ukraine, but also into Russia on both sides of the front lines. It was one of sort of a no-brainer, you could say, for the global initiative to look at what was going on with these influx weapons, related risks and related challenges, and seeing where the impacts could be now and moving forward. Two things that we're working on at the moment. We released a report entitled Smoke on the Horizon that really did a deep dive into the conflict in Ukraine, the weapons there, as well as the issue of trophy weapons, the dark web, and through that provided an overview of what's going on in Ukraine, but also largely what is sort of driving prices and driving the movements of illicit arms. And we say we call it the illicit arms economy in Europe. And there's been some interesting developments of North Korean troops are fighting there. Russia signed a strategic agreement with Iran. What that is today, we're not 100% certain, but understanding how Russia has started to use organized criminal groups to carry out their strategic objectives in terms of foreign policy, how they're working with other sort of criminal actors, and also understanding they're at war with the West. And so how are they going to be using the weapons that are inflowing into the conflict on the other side? How are they going to be using trophy weapons as the front lines continue to move? They do on a daily basis. So those are some of the things that we're interested in looking at the GI, not just what's going on in Ukraine and sort of looking westwards, but also looking eastwards and what's happening there. The second thing we're looking at is sort of doing a deep dive into what's going on in the Southern Balkans and sort of the linkages between Europe and wider regions. There's been a lot of things going on in the Middle East. There's been a lot of things going on in Africa. The Western Balkans still serves as a large source of illicit firearms and related material for the continent of Europe. It's also turned into a destination. They also manufacture weapons there. But they also, as I say, they're a natural corridor and that lead into Central and Western Europe. And so we've seen a lot of weapons coming in from Turkey and from farther afield going up this route. So for us, that's a issue of interest. What is first off going on? Secondly, how that is impacting the European continent and what are the potential sort of impacts and challenges down the road. But then also, as we develop out our work on illicit firearms at the Global Initiative, we're interested to see what are the transnational linkages at play there as well.